J-E-T-S, suck! What's going on, everybody? And welcome to another edition of the Patriots MayeFlower Voyage, presented by Patriots Clubhouse. As usual, I am the captain of the stormy ship, Dow, aka DTN, and I got my two men with me, Mr. Andy Schultz and Thomas Noble, aka 44-3. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
Let me just say, Dow, terrific intro, amazing intro. And I am doing pretty darn good. I mean, that game, like I said in our prelude or whatever you want to call it, we let him score on the opening drive again. It was 6 for 6, and Fields actually looked good. And I'm like, oh crap, not this again. I don't want to see a rerun of that Bears game, but guess what, Pats Nation? It was not a rerun of that Chicago Bears game from 3 years ago where the fans started yelling for Bailey Zappi after Mac Jones threw a pick. Because, outside of, I'm not going to call it a fluke touchdown to John Mechie because it wasn't a fluke. That was just like a really good score. I mean, the Pats defense was... No, I'm not going to say the Pats defense. The Pats offense, Drake May threw for 280 yards and only one touchdown, but no picks. Was only sacked once, but that was negated due to a holding call on the JETS suck. So yeah, I'm not complaining about that 27-13 victory last night. 27-14 victory last night. Thank you. It was pretty awesome.
Well, Mr. 44-3, how are you doing?
Great, perfect. And I want to say thank you. And I'd like to say, fuck the Jets! Fuck the Jets! You deserve to lose. Jesus Christ! Y'all nauseating Jets fans say that we could beat us. That they can beat us. Hell no! Like the sign says, fuck the Jets.
Damn straight for sure. And do we have to give him another lesson before we do our usual thing? But let's just get out with the usual business. And if you haven't already, smash the like button, hit subscribe. It's completely free, helps us grow significantly here on this channel. And if you haven't already, let me pull it up. Please, on the top left of the corner, scan this QR code, which leads us to the Patriots Clubhouse Discord. And if you haven't already, just make sure that if you haven't already, smash the like button, hit subscribe, share this with all your friends, and definitely turn on them bell notifications so you won't miss out on a future Patriots MayeFlower Voyage episode or an other episode here on the Patriots Clubhouse channel. And please make sure that you post your questions and comments relating to Patriots and football only. So no trolling, no tomfoolery, none of that. But let me say this. Before we do our analysis of that Patriots game, I want to say this to all Jets media or Jets fans. Why do you think you have the audacity to change the goalpost every single time by saying that, oh, we're going to suck? And then another day you say, oh, I think we're going to upset the Patriots in the worst way possible. You said we're going to blow out the Patriots or we're going to sweep the Patriots. After this game, I think you need to get your heads checked. Stand on the other side, guys, because the pleasantries are over. But let's get this show started. So when we talk about this Patriots-Jets game, I know that this is our second primetime game of the New England Patriots. how would you say, Andy, the performance for Drake May has looked like so far?
The performance for Drake May has looked nothing short of miraculous. I mean, from showing flashes of what he could be last season to being a top 5, arguably top 3 quarterback in the NFL is a credit not only to a complete change in the coaching staff, but to him just buckling down and getting shit done. And having workouts with the wide receivers, that trip they took to Florida over the summer, the 41 guys in the weight room ahead of the Tampa game. He's just become a leader for this team in a way that neither Mac Jones nor Bailey Zappi ever was. And the other thing you can say about this team that you could never say when Tom Brady was our quarterback is they're having fun. And when a team has fun, when a team truly gets along, they play their hearts out. And that's what you're seeing in large part thanks to Drake May. He is I'm not going to call him the team builder, but he is definitely a leader of men. And that is showing on the field when he, goes out there. And I sadly am saying he doesn't have a 300-yard game yet. The most he's ever thrown is 287 in a loss against the stinking Raiders. But second, I think, in the league in throws of 20+ yards. I did not see that deep game being anything like what it is this year. I do wish he'd take the checkdowns a few more. He is gradually learning to slide. Did so again last night. So, yeah, huge shout out to Drake May.
Yeah, for sure. When we talk about this win, Thomas, we finally have a winning record since 2021. How does it feel that we have more wins than the win total from 2023 to 2024 combined?
It's fantastic. Never thought to see the day that we get a better win-loss record after 11 games ever since Tom Brady left New England. It's like what Andy said here. This team's all about. This team has something that Tom Brady and the regime never had, which is fun. Every member of this team had a lot of fun, and that includes the guy whose fucking girlfriend or fiance or wife of Cardi B who got a baby boy earlier at this point, Stephon Diggs. Because, dude, I've been saying this ever since he stepped foot in Foxborough. I said he'll be better with Drake May as the quarterback, and he did. As a 32-year-old guy who came back from an ACL injury, he looked like he's definitely back at where he was supposed to be. And as for the other players, they had a lot of fun, and especially the rookies. The rookies had a lot of fun with the Patriots, and this will clearly show free agents coming up, the free agent class of 2026, want to play for the Patriots. That is what we desperately needed for here, and that's what we're going to desperately needed for here. So most likely here, the win-loss total compared to last year to this season definitely will show that anything could be possible in the National Football League, especially when it comes to when you go against, especially in the league with Kansas City, who won multiple Super Bowls, and including the Denver Broncos, who are literally look improved. Most importantly, the team that most likely is going to be a shock to me out of the Indianapolis Colts, and the most likely and the other teams and beyond, who we cannot not even be including Buffalo and so and so.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like so far this season, the fact that we finally have a winning record, it's nice to see something refreshing with new regime, new coach, new second-year quarterback, and a definitely revamped roster compared to all the past seasons, I would say. But let's focus on Drake May for a second. So Drake May, I'm going to read his stats. He has completed 25 out of 34 passes for 281 yards, 8.3 average for 1 touchdown. only 1 sack allowed, had a QBR of an 83.3, and a passing rating of 107.6. When you hear those stats, Andy, granted that you went up against the Jets, but do you think that is an MVP worthy performance from Drake May?
I 100% think that's an MVP worthy performance. And Christian Arcand said something. Thomas,
What?
you rolled your eyes. Why? Oh, never mind. Don't mind me. Christian Arcand.
I'll say my thing after you said this thing here. Go ahead.
Christian Arcand said something earlier about, and I forget exactly what it was, but Drake May, it was something about triple-digit passer ratings and touchdowns thrown. He's thrown 20 touchdowns so far, and what else? And deep passes of 20 plus yards. No quarterback has ever done that in 11 games ever. So yeah, I think even though it was against the Jets and their defense, who granted have been scrappy in most of their games this season, I think yet another triple-digit passer rating, and that percentage, and those thing was like 71%, and those 20-plus yard throws, yes, are worthy of an MVP conversation.
When we talk about, wait, go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah, but on the MVP thing for Drake May, I mean, it's the Jets. Again, it's the Jets. I mean, if you want to prove that you're MVP, you want to prove that you're MVP at this point. Go like, I don't want to be the person. You need to go against like some subpar or above good teams. Like for example, Cincinnati, the team we're facing next year, they're a subpar team. Despite how their defense is complete garbage. Then you had to go against Buffalo again. You had to go against the Baltimore Ravens, who are a tough team here. If you can prove that you can play good football against those teams, then yeah, sure. But do I think Drake May is going to win MVP? No, I don't think so. In my opinion, as much I want to say that, I don't think so. To me, like if he wants to go off an MVP run at this point, honestly, you need to play well against good teams. And as of right now, when we look at this, I mean, as of right at this point, some of the teams we're facing here is like it's literally crap, subpar, and some above average teams. So like, I don't want to put this down on Drake May. Like I love Drake May as our quarterback, but seriously, like. The Patriots fans are literally going to say that Drake May's going to be MVP after these games. Like, dude, calm down. It's only 11 games. Like at this point, if Drake May wants to prove he's an MVP caliber quarterback, I mean, you got to play good games, or great games that matter against like again above subpar teams or possibly great teams. Like, for example, like I mentioned, Buffalo, the team that they just beat earlier this season. And hell, you need to go against Lamar Jackson and fucking Derrick Henry and that stingy defense out of the Baltimore Ravens. If you can prove that you can play well against those teams, then sure, he's going to be MVP caliber quarterback. Do I think he's a MVP at this point after these 11 games? No, not yet. To me, it's still going to be Jonathan Taylor, Daniel Jones, yada yada for Indy, yada yada. It could be someone like Matthew Stafford, a 38-year-old who played for the Rams. So that's why I stand with this.
Yeah, I understand your points, Thomas. And when we talk about Drake May's performance, granted that, do I think he's going to be MVP currently? Not yet. I want to see if he can be more consistent. That's the thing. You only can be MVP if you can not only, well, I understand that this schedule may look easy, but at the same time, we're beating teams that we're supposed to beat. We're blowing out bad teams. We beat playoff caliber teams. We've been really consistent at winning games. And if Drake May continues to have another great performance, have another great passer rating, continues to pass for at least above 200 yards, and get to at least 300 consistently going up against later the Bengals, Giants, Buffalo Bills, Ravens, and then Jets and Dolphins to conclude the season, I could see an MVP. I can see a conversation where he could potentially be MVP. But at this moment, we have to wait and see if he can remain consistent. That's the only thing I would love to see from Drake May.
Nelson, God damn it. Nelson, so Buffalo, Baltimore are bad teams? Dude, no. No. Baltimore and Baltimore are good teams still. Like, Buffalo is still a good team, even though they have the worst rush defense. Still, Baltimore, Baltimore, ignore that win-loss record. They have they're a talented team in the AFC North. And I'm sorry, and I gotta admit I'm wrong here. I think the Ravens are gonna win the division at this point because I'm sorry, the Steelers are the big. And I'm sorry that I had to agree with freaking Austin with this a couple streams ago. The fucking Steelers are frauds.
That is, we can debate that for another time. We need to we'll find out by like December about this whole conversation if any of these teams can not only win the division but also make the playoffs and beat a playoff caliber team that everyone fears. But let's head over to the rushing game with Trevion Henderson. Grant, he had another great performance. 2 touchdowns on the ground. His first receiving touchdown in the air as a rookie in the NFL. How does it feel, Andy, that Trevion Henderson scored 21 points, basically helped this Patriots offense win games for us?
That is vindication for everybody who liked the Trevion Henderson pick. And I admit, I was like, really? At 38, a running back? Really? I was like, okay, I actually did some research on this guy out of Ohio State, and let me tell you, he was the real deal, number 2 over there behind Quinshon Judkins. I think it was Quinshon Judkins. Was that? Am I right?
Quinshon Judkins did play alongside Trevion Henderson at OSU.
Judkins was a transfer from Ole Miss, and Henderson has been a long-time player for Ohio State for 4 years straight.
Yeah, and everybody's saying, "Oh, look, the running back one is going to be Ramondre Stevenson." It's like, okay, Henderson has looked like a legit running back one these last 2 games. I mean, you saw those 2 runs he had against Tampa. And last night, I mean, come on, 3 touchdowns from a running back. One of them was receiving. This guy is a dual threat running back, and his pass blocking is improved too. So I think there's a little bit. I think he only had like 62 yards or something.
Yeah, 62 yards, but in total, he got 93 yards in total.
Nice. So, yeah. So that was only average like 3.3 yards a run because it was 19 runs. But, yeah, I think Trevion Henderson is. I'm not ready to call him a bell cow just yet. But yeah, I think he is an argument can be made that he should stay the RB1 after Henderson comes back.
Yeah, when we talk about this, I know that going back to Drake May for a second,
after Stevenson, sorry.
Yeah, going back to Drake May, I forgot to mention something about Drake May. When he was asked about the MVP chance, he deflected it for the second time. The first time he said it was that, oh, I think the crowd is chanting for Baker Mayfield, I think. This time, he said he deflected again, this time onto Trevion Henderson. How does it feel, Thomas, that Drake May now regains this trust with Trevion Henderson?
It's literally, to be honest, it's literally because he never had anybody at the running back position that's been so consistent and well played like Trevion Henderson. Like, I'm one of these guys here that say I want New England to get Travion Henderson. We never had anybody who was a dual threat running back since James White. We never had anybody like that. And since New England grabbed Travion Henderson, I was like, oh yes, we're gonna get ourselves the next James White, and that's what we're just gonna get this season. I'm just happy that Drake May actually got a running back that could actually be consistent on the daily basis on the run game here. He's more, again, like I said here a couple of streams ago, he's an outside run to the left and right side type of guy, not through the gut. What Stevenson is at this point. He really impresses me this season. Like even though he had a short start of the season, but the next couple of games he looked stupendous, and I think he's a way better running back draft pick than Quinshaw Junkins. It really is. So but is he better than Genty? Yeah, no, he's not. No, Genty is the next real big deal at this point. I don't think so. But when it comes to college competition, but yeah, maybe. But Travion Henderson is probably the best draft pick that we ever had here, besides Will Campbell. I just feel like that he will produce more yards as each game comes, if the all means necessary here. But lucky that we have a good running back like him in this team.
Yeah, for sure. And I know Jamie in the chat has been sulking over the fact about Travion Henderson because we had conversations off the stream and we were like, oh, I know he loved the heck out of Travion Henderson because, yeah, they needed a running back, but at the same time, they needed a left tackle because their left tackle was abysmal. So that's why they drafted Josh Simmons instead of Travion Henderson. Sorry, Jamie. Your Chiefs had a chance. He was open for you, but you got Simmons. But I want to ask you this, Andy, before we head over to the wide receivers. About Travion Henderson, there's this one comment that struck me the most. Granted, he is a Christian too, but when you hear this, I'm so weak without Jesus. And I really say this from my heart, I can't do it without Jesus. What does it say about Travion Henderson saying all of this while having another great performance for a second?
I think that is a testament as to how much he believes in himself. And I admit, I went to Catholic college, and let me tell you, it's like, and I still have a hard time believing in myself all the time because I forget stuff like nobody's business. On the other hand, it says Travion Henderson saying that is like putting faith in God or a higher power, and putting faith in yourself is key to, I know I sound corny here, is key to being who you are, is key to being the best man you can be. And that is exactly what Travion Henderson is aspiring to be with the New England Patriots.
Yeah, definitely. I think that I love these kind of comments from players where they dedicate their life to Jesus, and that's really important. Some players might say it just for like attention, but sometimes players say it like they really mean it, and that's really important to think about it because you might think the strength not only comes with the nature of how they receive the strength, but also the amount of work that all of these players put in and put up a great performance shows the amount of talent, the amount of nurturing from the coaches. That's what I really love from this team, and I want to see more from it with all players, not just like the veterans, the rookies, the first rounders, free agents, even undrafted, all players. And that's what I love to hear. But let's talk about our receivers. And I want to ask you this, Thomas. Stephon Diggs once again had another 100+ yard performance. How do you feel about our two vets, Mac Hollins and Stephon Diggs, putting up great performances as usual? Granted, they were the two leading receivers in receiving yards.
I don't need a full sentence. One word. Fantastic. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, for sure. They are fantastic. Like, I know that Stephon Diggs, even though he had a great performance against Buffalo, but the fact that he played his heart out, and granted he's above the age of 30 at this point, coming off of an ACL, I hope that Stephon Diggs hits 1K yards after coming back from an ACL tear. He will be our first Patriots wide receiver to hit 1K yards since Julian Edelman. Granted, he was not a homegrown talent, but it's nice to see that we're going to have another player who can hit 1K yards since Julian Edelman. When we talk about this, Andy, do you think that after Stephon Diggs' performance, can you see him hitting 1K yards by the end of the season?
I can see him hitting 1,000 yards. That 105 put him right back on track to being our first 1,000-yard wide receiver since Edelman. We do have some fairly good pass defenses left on our schedule. I believe both. If you could check passing defense in terms of, I know Buffalo is a fairly top-ranked passing defense. I'm not sure about Baltimore. I think they're pretty good though.
They are.
I mean, Cincinnati, the Jets again, Miami again. Yesterday, I think Diggs hit well over 600. He's on 650, 660, I think now. I'd have to look it up. But yeah,
I got it.
Go ahead. I do see him reaching 1,000 yards. Yes, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. I think that Stephon Diggs has been one of those underrated guys. I know everybody's.
Yeah.
There are fans that were hating on Stephon Diggs because of his personality in Buffalo, even in Minnesota, and we thought that we don't know if he will be what he was in Buffalo or what he was in Houston. Granted that. Yeah. I think that so far with Stephon Diggs, what I love about him is his speeches and willing to be accountable for himself and willing to willing to support the young players. Granted that I saw a video right after Travion Henderson had that receiving touchdown. You heard Stephon Diggs say, "You stole my tutty," because I know people wanted Stephon Diggs to score that touchdown in the air, but oh well. It's crazy. It's crazy with Stephon Diggs, and I'm looking at
Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, he probably was kidding. He's never actually he wanted the touchdown anyway. It's pripped at this point, but he was just having fun. Don't listen at this point.
Yeah, for sure they were having fun, and that's what I love from all of these players, that the fact that they're having talent, above average talent, and the fact that we're playing so well, so cohesive, having this chemistry immediately, all thanks to Vrabel. This is actually great for the New England Patriots. Not so much for the New York Jets, because they once again think that they can get more talent. But the problem is Aaron Glenn, being a first-year head coach, doesn't know how to coordinate that. And I want to ask you this, Andy. When it comes to the Jets, they played reckless. Our offense did well against this defense that looked like shit in the beginning of the season, and yet they still do. How does it feel that Jets got penalized the most over New England, because we were more disciplined than them, because they were playing chippy, they played dirty? How did you feel about it?
I kind of felt a little bit of it kind of made me feel good. It's like, okay, because those cheap shots, I think it might have been Jamie and Sherwood took a cheap shot at Drake May. I'm like, that is not how you're supposed to treat your opponent on the field. It's so it was kind of, yeah, the Jets, you see these teams get penalized and you think they kind of deserve it, or they don't deserve it. Watching this game last night, you think like the Jets deserved almost every flag they got. And Zolak and Bob Sosi were right there with him. It's like, that is just like a hit you should never take on a football field. So that chippiness, I mean, yeah, if they didn't get the penalty on that strip sack or a penalty on that sack of Drake May, things might have gone differently on that drive. We might not have gotten the field goal and, they get the ball back. But after that drive, I really didn't. I mean, there was the John Mechie drive, which was really nice. But do you trust Justin Fields? Are you really afraid of Justin Fields? Not so much.
The one person who trusts in Justin Fields at this point is Aaron Glenn. And I doubt that he will bench this guy anytime soon. Because I watch these press conferences from Aaron Glenn. He is still advocating for Justin Fields. And the one thing that I hear from Aaron Glenn time after time again, which is kind of sick and tiring for Jets fans, I get it, is we're going to watch tape. I got to watch the tape. You saw the damn tape on the field with your eyes open. Why didn't you even bench Justin Fields for Tyrod Taylor? Like, there was a report for Connor Hughes that said that Tyrod Taylor was going to be warming up and play against us, but Thomas, when we talk about it, why didn't the Jets start Tyrod Taylor and they instead continue with Justin Fields and made it easy for us?
He really thinks Justin Fields is going to be the biggest, is going to help us out at this rate. But yeah, I don't know why they stick with Fields instead of Taylor.
Yeah, for sure. Well, there's a lot to talk about, but we got the offensive linemen next. So let's quickly talk about the offensive line. And this offensive line improved a lot. As usual, allowed, again, 1 sack. We're going up against a guy in Will McDonald who had 4 sacks onto the Cleveland Browns. Granted, it was the Cleveland Browns. But when we talk about this, Andy, how does it feel that Will Campbell did a great job of immobilizing Will McDonald?
Yeah, that speaks to Will Campbell's maturity beyond his years, which we've been hearing about since we drafted the kid. As you know, Dow, I didn't want him. You and I both wanted Josh Simmons. But that little speech he gave, I'll fight and die to protect my quarterback, it's like, okay, he just sold me. And, he looked decent to good against Max Crosby. He completely pancaked. McDonald, and I think it was that 3rd touchdown drive that he wound up having. And despite that 1 penalty, it was like, yeah, he's a rookie. He's going to goof up sometimes. But that was, I'm not going to go as far as saying it was a coming out party for Will Campbell because he's had a couple of those games so far. But yeah, seeing off one of the best defensive tackles in the league, even though he's on one of the worst teams, was pretty awesome.
Do you think that I thought this Jets defense would look terrifying if they still had Quinnen Williams, if they were never to trade Quinnen Williams? Do you think that was it like a test for the offensive line? Granted that the Jets defensive line regrets kind of a bit because Quinnen Williams, now traded to the Cowboys, left a gaping hole for this defensive line.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen this offensive line perform or see how they looked against a defensive line that had both Quinnen Williams and Will McDonald, because it's like, what does it look like when you have Campbell on McDonald? And I think it would have been would have it been on Wenu on Williams? I think I'm not sure which position. I think that might have been right, but yeah, it would have been more of a good test game to see how well this offensive line really looked against with those two guys. What might have been one of the better defensive lines we faced all year.
Yeah, they would have been one of the scariest defensive lines because you had Jermaine Johnson coming back from that injury that he had in the beginning of the season. You still have Will McDonald. You acquired Harrison Phillips from the Minnesota Vikings per trade, and you also got Juwan Briggs. I did my research on their defensive line. The only thing that saved us was the fact that the Jets never had Sauce Gardner in that game because they traded away Sauce Gardner to the Colts, as far as we know, a couple weeks ago. And yeah, this defense, we made, granted with our receivers, with our offense, we made the Jets cornerbacks look silly in a sense that we made Brownlee make countless of mistakes. Generally, he's your slot corner, and that's because A.Z. Thomas, the third-round rookie, I don't know where he played. Let me quickly look up A.Z. Thomas and which school he got drafted. And then I think he was drafted. Yeah, he was drafted by from Florida State. So yeah, there's gonna be some like depth issues with defense, and basically this shows that we exposed all of the Jets' weaknesses. The fact that the Jets lack depth. And do you think, Andy, before we switch over to the defense, that we counterattack all of the Jets' weaknesses from like lack of depth, lack of talent, and specifically horrible defensive play calling from the Jets?
Oh, I absolutely do. I mean, between Trevion Henderson's running game and Drake May's passing game and getting Hunter Henry involved and just spreading the ball around the way we've been all year. It's like there is way more depth on this team than I think even the four of us saw headed into this season. I remember Austin talking about, okay, where's the depth on this team? I don't really see it. And none of us did. And now we're seeing it at wide receiver with Booty out and Kyle Williams, needless to say, looking like a rookie again. You've got Diggs, you've got Hollins, you've got Douglas, and you've got Henry. And May did a phenomenal job. I think it was a 20-yard gain to Pop Douglas on one of those drives, the one where we got our last field goal. 20 or 22 was on like 3rd and 10. And it was just, the Jets defense was completely lost. It's like, okay, May, Douglas, I'm going to throw you open. There's your football, first down for 22 yards. So yeah, we completely made hay with the fact that the Jets defense kind of shot itself in the foot a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to the with the Patriots up against the Jets, this should have been an easy test. Granted that when it comes to like divisional games, usually divisional opponents play more aggressive. But what I think in that game shows that the Patriots were mistake-free while the Jets made countless of mistakes. Not just with like technique-wise allowing like these big plays, but also penalties. The fact that I saw like a crap ton of unnecessary roughness penalties show that there is a lot to work on. And Aaron Glenn knows that there's going to be a lot of evaluations at the end of the season. And I know that we're going to be playing them again week 17 at MetLife Stadium on one of the worst turfs that the NFL has ever experienced, in our opinion, because generally with MetLife Stadium, it's a graveyard for so many players. It's a graveyard for ACLs. And basically, the storm has arrived when it comes to New England Patriots, given that we are wearing our rivalry jerseys. Granted that you might think that there's so much fear when it comes to like, oh, we might lose in the rivalry jersey, similar to how the Buffalo Bills did when we beat them. But this is different because both us and the Dolphins beat the Jets wearing our rivalry jerseys. So it doesn't mean anything technically, but at the same time, it's nice to like show the dedication of like our debut with our rivalry jerseys. But before we get to the defense, Andy, I want to ask you this. Before the whole like when we hear about the rivalry jersey news, what were your thoughts on like the whole theme of like the nor'easter and how we let a huge storm over Gillette Stadium, making Jets' lives, shut down?
Exactly. Yeah, I really liked that, man. And the way we, coming out onto the field in those kind of ice blue uniforms, it was just like, not just a message to the Jets, but to the message to the whole NFL. It's like, okay, look out. Vrabel, after that Vrabel hire, the Pats are back. And whether you're a good team, a middling team, a bad team, you didn't see this coming. This is a team that, I will reiterate what I've said before. I know I sound like a broken record. I do not see a loss of more than 10 points coming under Mike Vrabel this year. I mean, yeah, the Ravens have a lot of weapons. The Bills, we beat them on their home field. Could they be looking for a revenge game? Heck yeah. But I just think those rivalry jerseys made a statement. And the Jets and their fans felt that wind blowing right in their faces, and they got grounded.
That's what you love to see, because based off of the history with the Patriots and the Jets, the one notable thing, and I technically have the kind of like concept when you think about it. When you think about this basically, when Belichick wrote this note on a paper napkin that he resigned from the Jets, hell is going to wreak havoc. And what's interesting about this matchup is that you had two coaches. Both of them were former players of their respective teams. And that says a lot going up against each other. Like, you have Mike Vrabel being a former Patriot and being a Patriots Hall of Famer. Aaron Glenn was drafted by the New York Jets. And I don't think he was in the Jets Hall of Fame, but he did play for the Jets, and as far as we know. And I love these kind of matchups when we talk about it. But let's shift over to the defense. And when we talk about this defense, Andy, I want to talk about this head-scratching thing that we need to touch upon, and it happened again. We allowed, once again, a scoring drive from the Jets. Is it like a running theme with this Patriots defense? Because it seems like we seem to do well after that drive.
Yeah, it is a running theme, Dow, and for the most part, against not so good teams. It only hasn't happened against Buffalo and Atlanta. Or I don't think it happened against Miami either. So 3 games. In 8 out of 11 games, we have let our opponent score on their opening drive. And that has to be at the back of Vrabel's mind. He's thinking, after our bye week, we've got the Bills and the Ravens back to back. We could well get into the playoffs here. What happens if we play a Kansas City or an Indy, or maybe even a Denver, one of these defenses that is pretty damn stout? There's a good chance they might be facing Baltimore again. And Vrabel, it's like, okay, I can't imagine he has not tried to whip it into the hearts and minds of those defensive players. Like, do not let your opponent score on the opening drive, because against a better team, it's going to come back to bite you in the fucking ass.
Yeah, it's going to bite them in the ass for sure if they don't get it together, especially going up against Buffalo at home and Baltimore when we play at Baltimore. So we got to keep an eye on these two. And granted, we got one more primetime game at home against the Giants. And I consider that game to be a test too. Granted that the Giants did fire their head coach in Brian Daboll, so now they have their offensive coordinator Mike Kafka being the interim head coach for the Giants. So this should be an easy win, but anything can happen on a given Sunday, Monday, or Thursday. So basically,
Exactly.
But when we talk, wait, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it's like headed into the season, we all thought the concern would be the offense. If anything, it's more the defense. I mean, in only, let's see, 2 games, I think, have we allowed 20. How many games have we allowed 23 plus points only allowed in 2 games, I think. It was Miami and
I think it was not Tampa Bay because
it was Atlanta. It was Atlanta because that one went 24-23. So yeah, those 2 games. And every other game we've let,
because we also allowed 23 points too.
Oh, that's right. Oh shoot, 3 games. Yeah, you're right. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Funny. Well, they said 2, but yeah, if anything, it's the defense that's a concern, and it's still a light years away from last season.
I love this comment from Ray, which is kind of really interesting. He said, it's no longer do your job. That's a Belichick thing. I'm trying to find a way viral. I heard one of the players say, find a way in a recent presser. I think it was Hunter Henry. Do your job belongs. Yeah, I think you need to find a way to win, find a way to make adjustments within the second half. That's how you win games. And the fact that we had a 8-win stretch, we haven't had that since 2019 when we went 8-0 until the streak was broken by the Baltimore Ravens at the Baltimore Ravens. So I love that comment, Ray. What are your thoughts about that, Andy? Finding a way to win.
Find a way. Yeah, I love that slogan because it's what the Pats have been doing all season. Pretty much. Is find a way to win. Find a way to break the will of the other team. Whether it was that fumble by Justin Fields or I don't think we had a turnover we didn't have a turnover against the Bucks, but let me tell you, Henderson's runs in that game, it's like you've got to find a way to break the will of your opponent. And yes, we did that all the time under Belichick and Brady. And of course, it was, do your job. And then after Super Bowl 49, it became do your job well. Now, I think find a way is exactly what we're doing. The Pats are finding not the same way. Like Ray said, this is not Belichick we're talking about. It's Mike Vrabel, who's really more Parcelsian in a lot of his coaching philosophy. And this is about a new coach with the Patriots, with one of the younger teams in the league, finding a way through the NFL and finding a way to win.
Yeah, for sure. It's really important to find a way to win, find a way to make adjustments, find a way to make sure that this team is well coordinated and have this chemistry to, play free football, free mistake football, and play complementary football. And that's really important in all games. But when we talk about this defense, let's talk about our undrafted free agents because, oh my gosh, our undrafted free agents step up when a couple of our players got injured. What are your thoughts on our undrafted free agents and Del Pettis once again? And then Elijah Ponder, the undrafted free agent out of Cal Poly.
Yeah, Elijah Ponder was not a name I was looking at in the preseason much at all. And yet in these past couple of games here, he is coming up with surprise plays, coming in with big plays. And I think was he the main culprit on that fumble? I believe he was.
I think that was Jennings who got the fumble, but Elijah Ponder did get the sack that won the Patriots the game. It was
the final sack on the field. Yeah. I mean, we were up 13 anyway, so the Jets probably, their chances of coming back and winning were slim and none. But yeah, Elijah Ponder, the linebacker, the UDFA linebacker, has really come up big in these past couple of games, and with Christian Ellis sidelined, and that's huge for a defense that, surprisingly has had some holes all year. Whether it was Gonzo out at the beginning of the season, we're talking about Milton Williams hurt now, Barmore has been touch and go, so having that steady hand at linebacker is really nice.
Yeah, when we talk, nice to talk about that. We actually won without Milton Williams for the majority of the game. And I know that Christian Barmore finally got his very first sack this season. And that shows a lot that how players need to step up, especially fighting for your brothers. And speaking of Milton Williams, will that really hurt in the long run if Milton Williams was going to be out this upcoming week or when we play against Cincinnati? Or
yeah, because we allowed, it was 60 some odd yards to Breece Hall, who's one of the best running backs in the game.
It was 67 yards from Justin Fields, 58 yards from Breece Hall.
58 from Breece Hall. So it was over 100 rushing yards, and that might have been in part to Milton Williams being out. And against Cincinnati, we'll be facing off against Chase Brown, another stud running back. So having Milton Williams out, I mean, this is the mini bye week, is going to help immensely with these injuries. You don't know. We might get Booty back on offense. We might get Ellis back. It's going to be interesting to see what the injury report is actually next week, starting to lead into the game. But yeah, it could be not such a good thing for our defense, especially on those opening drives that we've talked about so often, with Milton Williams being injured.
Yeah, for sure. Before we continue with this discussion on the defense, quickly, guys, if you haven't already, please make sure that you smash the like button, hit thumbs up if you haven't already, and please make sure that you click the subscribe button. It's completely free, and it helps us grow as a channel. It helps us bring out the algorithm for YouTube, as it allows YouTube to consider us as a recommendation for Patriots fans as a reliable channel on the New England Patriots coverage. And please make sure that you share this with your friends. Scan this QR code on the top left of your corner to join the Patriots Clubhouse Discord. That's where we do our fun stuff in there, and we're about to do some giveaways soon. And please make sure that you participate in the chat as much as possible. We would love to see that. But let's go back to this discussion on the defense. So when we talk about this offensive plan from the Jets, why? I know that they were running a lot, but why the hell were they even attempting to pass the ball, knowing Justin Fields and his inaccuracy?
That I can't tell you, Dow, because that's how he shredded us when he was with Chicago, was with his feet. That's how they won that game. And the Jets, I must say, to their partial credit, realized that last night. He ran on that first drive, and I think he used a lot of running on their second scoring drive too. For Aaron Glenn, not only to say he wants to keep using Justin Fields over Tyrod Taylor, but to not utilize him in the correct way, much like Bill Belichick did with Mac Jones. It's like, is this another quarterback that the Jets, they didn't draft him, but this is another quarterback who's, gone to the Jets, the graveyard of quarterbacks? It's like, yeah, I don't understand why they didn't let him run more, because they were in that game, believe it or not, as bad as they looked next to us, and as in control as we were. The Jets were always kind of nipping at our heels in that game. And it was because of Fields' running ability. And yet, it's like, okay, he forced a pass. You're like, what? That's just weird. Yeah, very funny.
Granted that he did complete 15 out of 26 passes, but when you think about it, they were not good not good throws in my opinion, with the exception of throwing the ball to John Mechie, who I think took over for Garrett Wilson. If it was Garrett Wilson playing, oh, it would be like, oh hell, we need Gonzo on Wilson at all times. But thankfully, it was, even though John Mechie scored on us in that one touchdown, besides Fields scoring that rushing touchdown, I feel like if Justin Fields was like in his Bears like form, in a sense that he killed us 33-14, it would have been a completely different story. And it was on Monday Night Football when you think about it. Right. But I didn't when it comes to Justin Fields, granted that we made him deer in the headlights for most of the time, but I feel like it all comes down to coaching too. Like, this is what I still don't understand. Justin Fields, granted that he's not like living up to the first round hype, but at the same time, I did not like Aaron Glenn's cockiness while he's saying that we can coach him up better than what Mike Tomlin or even Matt Eberflus did during his time with Chicago and Pittsburgh. Do you think that this is a sign of cockiness from Aaron Glenn?
It sounds it to me. I mean, when he considering that he played for the likes of Eberflus and Tomlin, a rookie head coach out there saying, "Oh yeah, we can whip this quarterback into shape." That's cockiness right there, man. And I don't exactly count on the quarterback to respond positively to that. He knows Glenn is not only a defensive mind, but a first-year head coach, and that's not going to rub off well. That overconfidence is not going to rub off well on Justin Fields.
Yeah, and when we talk about Justin Fields, I know that there was a report from Woody Johnson saying that he took shots at Justin Fields for not how good he is and the inability to complete passes. And imagine if Tyrod Taylor was never hurt. And the problem with Tyrod Taylor is he's hurt. And the problem with the Jets is they are inept of finding a different quarterback through the trade deadline to like help Justin Fields and also take over for Justin Fields while Tyrod Taylor's still hurt. Like, no one trusts Brady Cook, who is the undrafted free agent quarterback out of Missouri. So do you think that the Jets were stupid enough because they would assume that Justin Fields would be like a bridge quarterback for their so-called first round talent this upcoming season?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what they were counting on with Justin Fields. And like you said, Woody Johnson was out there bashing him before they reeled off those 2 straight wins against Cincinnati and Cleveland. That kind of probably lit a fire under Justin Fields, and it stayed until that first drive last night. But yeah, I think he's not exactly the right guy to bring in as a bridge quarterback. And I don't know what they're doing to Brady Cook, because I kind of liked Brady Cook as a backup. But, here are the Jets. Once again, with 70% of the time, incompetent quarterback play, and they keep rolling Justin Fields out onto the football field.
Yeah, definitely. But let's just shift over to the Patriots cornerback room. And when we talk about this, not the cornerback, the secondary. When we talk about the secondary, and I know Gonzo has been looking good. I know he had a pass deflection. Everybody's been bashing on Carlton Davis once again, and I know that in your winners and losers, and we will get to our musket men and misfires, but why was everybody bashing on Davis when clearly Craig Woodson led up that touchdown from John Mechie?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just kind of that. I'm not really going to call it PTSD. It's just that, and I've been one bashing Craig Woodson. I've been one bashing Carlton Davis for most of the season, and I like the signing initially. And yes, he has made some goof ups this season. That was not on him last night. And I think Pats fans are still they're still thinking about, oh my gosh, the Brady years and this and that. It's like, okay, no, this is a new team. I hope that Vrabel and Coor keep coaching up Carlton Davis, if I can say that. He's been in the NFL for 6 years now? 7, but yeah, I didn't understand that at all.
This is why I have PTSD from. Like, we keep on allowing these like first downs. Like, we should do a better job of containing Justin Fields. Like, because Justin Fields is not like a good quarterback. He's more of a below average quarterback. Like, we should have taken advantage of like all of his mistakes, but because of the amount of pressure we attempted to apply, not gonna lie, this offensive line for the Jets, they were really damn good, with the exception
of Nimbo.
I was gonna say, with the exception of that play from that center Josh Myers, where it was a low snap and we managed to recover a fumble on that play. What were your thoughts on that play?
Yeah, that was pretty funny, man. I was like, oh geez, the Jets going on another scoring drive, and then that fumble recovery at what turned out to be the Jets' 11-yard line. So they were in deep territory. So they were far from scoring another touchdown, but still, it's like, okay. I was like, okay, wait, Jets get the ball back. Wait, Patriots ball? It's like, that's got to be like in the red zone. And we did only get a field goal off of that turnover, but it meant the game. So in the end, it didn't matter. But yeah, that was a wild sequence right there.
That was a wild sequence. And granted that we should have scored a touchdown, but unfortunately it was a field goal, which was unfortunate to happen. Like, there were times where Matt Collins should have secured that catch, but oh well, it's one catch, not the end of the world.
That was that the one where like the Jets defender was like right there, and May threw this beautiful ball to Hollins in the back corner of the end zone, and the Jets defender was like right place at the right time.
Yeah, it was just frustrating. Actually, it was to Hunter Henry. That was to Hunter Henry, but
it was Hunter Henry.
Yeah, but nevertheless, we still scored some points at the end of the day when we look at that play. But going back to Davis, I think Tyler mentioned a really interesting comment. David did allow the third down play that got the Jets within the 10-yard line. Granted that when it comes to converting the third down, we need to do a better job of stopping the Jets at third down, because they converted to at least 8 out of 14 times when converting third down. So is this something that the defense still needs to work on, even though that we have improved week after week?
Yeah, because if it's 8 out of 14, if it's that against an offense that's short, Garrett Wilson, but it seems like John Mechie stepped up pretty well yesterday. This offense still does have Mason Taylor and Breece Hall. I mean, they have blue chip players on that side of the ball, but the fact that it was that high against a team short Garrett Wilson was not when you're going to be facing Jamar Chase and Zay Flowers and Tyreek Hill again probably down the line. It's like, that's not something you want to see against a team like the Jets.
Yeah, that's not what you wanted to see, and especially that there should be more improvements here and there. But anything can happen on a given. Like, anything can happen as long as we improve against Cincinnati. But Cincinnati, they have more weapons than what the Jets have. They have Jamar Chase, they have T. Higgins, they have Noah Fant, they have Mike Gesicki. But you still have old ass Joe Flacco. So
Flacco, yeah.
And the only way.
Do you think I wanted to bring in Flacco?
Yeah, to mentor Drake May, but no, that didn't happen.
Wouldn't work.
And granted that their offensive line is worse than the Jets' offensive line when you think about it. So we should do a better job against Cincinnati. But let's quickly touch on special teams, and then we get to our musket men of misfires. But Andy's streak of scoring field goals has come to a very end when he missed that towards the end of the first half. Well, granted that he did bounce back, but
yeah, I was afraid. I was like, oh shit, that's going to be like, it wasn't a turnover like it was against Atlanta, but I'm like, oh boy, is that going to be the play that changes the trajectory of the game? Luckily, it was not. But Andy B, you got to make those field goals, man. I mean, was it a 45-yarder?
let me see if it was a 40-yard. Let me take a look, because I know that he did miss that field goal. It was really upsetting though, but at the same time, we were still up. We would have been up like 17 though.
The clock management wasn't too cool there either. It's like, okay, you had 2nd and 20, then 3rd and 10, and then you convert to Pop Douglas, and it like took you like a minute to go 4 yards on that drive. That drive was weird. And it was like,
it was a 45-yarder. It was a 45-yarder.
45 yards. And you're like, okay, Vrabel and McDaniels, why are you doing this? It's like, you're playing the Jets. It's like, you're playing scared of Justin freaking Fields. He's not Baker Mayfield. He's not Josh Allen. You're not going to give him the ball with 30 seconds left and he's going to magically go down the field. Like, use your timeouts wisely. And, maybe you'll have 6-8 seconds left to try and punch it in for the touchdown. But as it was, we wind up with a missed field goal attempt. Yeah, that was, luckily, like I said, it didn't swing the course of the game. And he did bounce back. But in a close game, you cannot have those field goal misses. No.
And granted that this is his first test to see if he can do it in a windy game, in a dark, cold, windy game.
Correct. Which last night was.
And that was a big test for young Andy Borgalis. But
correct.
As we conclude with this show, we will conclude as usual with our misfires and musket men, if I could find that banner. But so it's unusual that it's just the two of us. Thomas unfortunately did laugh. Austin unfortunately had other plans. So sorry if it's like the two of us. We try our best to make sure that this show is at least entertaining and fun for you guys. But I will read Thomas's musket men and misfires, and then you can get to yours, Andy, and then I'll get to mine. But his musket men for the offense was Travion Henderson, because obviously with his impressive performance on the ground and in the air, for sure. His misfire for the offense was Jack Westover. Yeah, the thing with Jack Westover is like, I didn't understand why they didn't run it back with Kyrie's Tonga at fullback, and why they brought it back with Jack Westover, which kind of didn't get me at that point. But oh well. I did not understand why Jack Westover was bad, but yeah, I would have said otherwise. But his musket men for defense was definitely the interior defensive line. Yes, we did make Justin Fields look deer in the headlights, so that's why he gave praise to the interior defensive line. His misfire, he did say Craig Wilson, because of that touchdown he let up. How about you, Andy?
So my winner on offense is the same as Thomas. It's Travion Henderson. I mean, he kind of low-key had a breakout game. I have 19 runs for 62 yards and 2 touchdowns, and 5 of 5 receiving for 31 yards and a touchdown. I mean, that's a running back with going 5 for 5 in passing yards and averaging about roughly 6 yards per, a little more. I mean, that's like really good, and it shows, like I said earlier in the stream, what a dual threat Travion Henderson really is. My winner on defense is Elijah Ponder, the UDFA out of Cal Polytech, I believe. He had 2 tackles and 1 sack, and made the sack that, I'm not going to say sealed the game, but that stopped the Jets from scoring a garbage time touchdown. He got the sack on Justin Fields, and that we got the ball back, ran the clock out, and that was that. My loser on offense is Kyle Williams. Despite that beautiful touchdown he had against Tampa, he fully came back to rookie earth last night. He was like, wondering where the ball was and was not on the same page with Drake May. And he was on the field for 2/3 of the offensive snaps, more actually, 68%, and went 0 for 3. It's like, I'm not going to call him a bust yet, but, like I said, look at the wide receiver depth. We have Diggs, we have Booty, who's now injured. We have Hollins, whom I didn't see doing nearly what he's been doing. And we have Pop Douglas. And they have tight end Hunter Henry. But I'm still going to give Kyle Williams a chance because he did more in that Tampa game than Polker Baker did their entire rookie season. But nonetheless, he is my misfire from last night on offense. My winner on offense, or my winner on, no, I said my winner on defense is Elijah Ponder. My loser on offense, just like Thomas, Craig Woodson, completely goofed up on that Mechie touchdown. The receiver was wide open, trotted right in for the score, and with Woodson in coverage. He did have 3 tackles, but did not prove to be much of a game changer at all. So that's why he's my misfire.
Interesting. For me, when it comes to my misfires and musket men, so my musket men, I want to say Trayvon Henderson, but it's actually the 2 young rookies on the offensive line. Nice. Because they did a great job of mobilizing this defensive line, this dirty defense when you think about it, because we mobilized Will McDonald, who racked up 4 sacks on this depleted, aging, wrecked Browns offensive line. They went up against us, and we made life hell for this defensive line, and they didn't apply pressure, and we basically exposed their weaknesses when it comes to like depth in general. My loser, I do agree, it is Kyle Williams. Like Raid said it best, Kyle Williams is still learning. I'm not worried about him at all, but by like the middle of next season, if he continues to struggle, because he is a speedster, I get it. But we drafted him assuming that he would be a separator, the king of separation for the wide receiver class. And unfortunately, he didn't live up to that compared to last season. I mean,
he was also a speedster, though, Dow. Sorry to cut you off. Javon Baker, whom I actually was kind of excited about last year. And look where he's at now.
But then again, Kyle Williams, he did score that touchdown on a huge 72-yarder. But the problem with him is his inconsistency. Because Diggs is not going to be with us for much longer. Hollins is not going to be here for us for not much longer. We need our young guys to step up, and it's really important of Kyle Williams. If he doesn't get it together by the end of the season, there's going to be questions if we're going to trade him away. When it comes to this defense, I do agree that Elijah Ponder could be a potential winner, but in my opinion, I will say it was Christian Barmore finally getting his very first sack of the season. And that's what you'll love to see from a guy who unfortunately did not live up to the expectations technically. But then again, what the contributions with Christian Barmore, with the amount of pressures he applied, it allowed Milton Williams, Landry, and Chase on to get some sacks and whatnot. So at least it's nice to see Christian Barmore making a play. My loser, I do agree, and it is on Craig Woodson, because basically he looked deer in the headlights when it comes to like third when he allowed that touchdown to Mechie. So that was a boneheaded mistake from him, and I think he will improve. It was just not his good day. But granted that it was a short week, but then you have to. But then again, you have to be at your best at all games, whether you make mistakes or not. But that's going to be it for today's show on the Patriots MayeFlower Voyage. Thank you to all of you guys who supported us throughout this long week of content creation for the boys here in the Patriots clubhouse. It was tiring when you think about it, having to do 3 shows within the week. Generally, we do like a pregame show on at least a Friday or a Saturday, but because of prime time, the scheduling, all thanks to the schedule makers, this is what we have to work with. And basically, we thank all of you guys for joining our journey, and we appreciate your support. If you guys haven't already, please make sure that you smash the like button, hit thumbs up, and also give it a subscribe button. It's definitely helpful as content creators, as amateur content creators, as we continue to progress here on this channel. And it would be appreciated if you share this with all of your friends to watch and entertain to some Patriots content, and turn on the bell notifications if you haven't already. And if you haven't already, scan this QR code to join the Patriots Clubhouse Discord, or you can click in the description down below to click the link to our Patriots Clubhouse Discord. We will be back next week. We will have a long hiatus technically for until the Cincinnati Bank. So we're going to have a mini bye too. So we won't be back till like next Friday. So you won't see us for the next 6 days, unfortunately, but we will be back to preview that Bengals game at Cincinnati. And as always, guys,
let's
go Pats. Peace out.